Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to this webinar with the Spain-US Chamber of Commerce in partnership with Vitalsurance to talk about medical insurance considerations for individuals and new employers in the USA. First of all, thank you so much, everyone, for being with us today. And for those of you that are not familiar with the Spain-US Chamber of Commerce, we are an official binational Chamber of Commerce that help companies doing business here in the United States. And we organize many different activities. These webinars are a part of the activities that we host, but we also host many in-person activities now that the COVID pandemic has finally ended. So I encourage everyone to check our website and to see all the events that we are hosting in the next few months. Our website is www.spainuschamber.com. I believe that there we send via chat the address, so you can check there the activities that we are hosting in the next weeks, and hope to see you there as well. For this webinar today, before introducing our partner and our speaker for this topic, I would like to remind everyone two things. First is that we will share with you the presentation that you are going to see in a moment, and we will share as well the video. Also, we will upload the video in our YouTube channel so that you could share all the information shared with us today with your friends, families, and other colleagues that might be interested in what we are going to talk about. And the second thing is that we encourage everyone attending to send your questions. We will open a Q&A at the end of the presentation, but you might send your questions during the whole presentation. So you don't need to wait until the end to send your questions. In order to send them, just click on the questions tab that will appear on your panel, on your control panel, probably on the right side of your screen. You will see a tab that says questions. You just need to click there, write your question, and send it to us. We will receive all the questions, and we will forward those questions to our guest today, and we will address all of them at the end of the presentation. And now, without further ado, we have to thank Vitalsurance for hosting this webinar with us today. For those of you that are not familiar with Vitalsurance, is a global health and life insurance agency based in South Florida, and they provide flexible health and life insurance options to individuals, professionals, groups, and corporations, which is something very important to have in the United States, as we will see in a moment. And today we have from Vitalsurance Gabriel Braga. Gabriel is a multilingual senior level executive with over 20 years of experience in international marketing and business development in the United States, Europe, and Latin America, and he is the owner of Vitalsurance. He's fluent in English, Spanish, French, and Hebrew, and also conversational Portuguese. So if you have any question in any of those languages, you can also send those questions if you prefer than English. So Gabriel, welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. I appreciate your support, and thank you for the Spanish American Chamber of Commerce for giving me the opportunity to present a very easy topic for everyone to, I'm just kidding, I know for everybody it's a little bit complicated, but we'll make it a little bit more simplistic. And I'm sure that after this presentation, a lot of people will have a clear view of how it works. It's not that complicated. And I'll take you step by step.
Wonderful. So I'll leave you there, and we will reconnect for the Q&A.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Juan Carlos.
You're welcome.
So first of all, I want to thank everybody for joining this webinar. I appreciate your time, and I'll do my best to share with you important information related to medical information, medical insurance information that pertains to the U.S. So this is the main slide, and I'm going to go to the next slide now. Wait a second. Okay. Some reason is okay. So today we're going to talk mainly about three topics. The first topic is going to be about type of products in medical insurance. The second topic is going to be about statistics, mainly in the OECD. And then we're going to speak about or share with you information about the insurance process. How would you navigate? What would you have to do in order to look for insurance? So these are the three topics for today. Believe it or not, just to break the ice, this has nothing to do with insurance. The reason I'm showing that to you because insurance is not that complicated. And for those who don't know, this formula has nothing to do with insurance. It has to do with FIFA ranking. For those who are following soccer worldwide, this is a formula to find out what is your rank of a specific national team worldwide. Before I start explaining about insurance, it's very important for you to understand what is the relationship between a client and the insurance carrier or the insurance company. There is a bilateral agreement between the consumer and the insurance company. The insurance company will tell you, I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to cover you for $1 million on limited amount of money as long as you have a deductible of a certain amount. It can be $5,000, can be $0, can be $3,000. So this is an agreement that the two sides are taking certain risk. So the insurance company is taking a risk of paying you a huge amount of money in case of hospitalization, and the consumer is taking a certain risk of paying an amount in case of hospitalization that can range from $0 up to $10,000. Usually, those are deductibles that we see in the market. The products that we're going to talk today are the following. First is the individual product or individual market for private people, supplements, Medicare, expat insurance, and group insurance. So I'll explain one by one what it means. In the United States, individual market means family and one person. The individual market can be divided into private insurance or an insurance that you're trying to get through the exchanges. The insurance that you know, it's called also Obamacare, or it's set through the legislation of the Affordable Care Act. These are the two types of individual markets. What's the difference between private insurance and the one you go through the exchanges or the nickname Obamacare? Private insurance, you just purchase the insurance through a private company, and there are plenty of those companies here in the local market in Florida and elsewhere in other states. And the exchanges basically are the same companies that are going to the market, and they present to you the plan, let's say Plan X, and the government is involved in subsidizing or helping the consumer to buy it according to the income. There is no much change in the design of the plan. A lot of people think that the Obamacare, the exchanges, the plan are very different, but sometimes there can be very different in favor of someone who earns low income per year. For instance, if, for example, there is a person that earns $20,000 a year and he buys a private insurance, maybe it will cost him $500, but if he goes through the exchanges, it's going to cost him maybe $50. And also, he will get a lower copay also in the plan. So it varies a lot based on the age, based on the income, based on the size of the family as well. So there's a lot of variables regarding the individual market. So some people prefer to buy it private because they don't want to furnish all the information about their income. And there are some people that would prefer to pay less and they don't mind to furnish all the information they're asked by the government. Let's go to supplement insurance now. Supplement insurance is a product that is trying to help you with the deductible in case you have an accident, hospital, or a critical illness like cancer or heart attack. So what they do is, if you purchase a small one of those products, what it will do is it will help you with your deductible in case that there is an accident, in case somebody was diagnosed with cancer, because cancer treatment can be very expensive in the US. I can tell you from my own experience that I had clients that the payment of chemotherapy was hundreds of thousands of dollars to $1 million. So if you purchase a supplement, you can get a lump sum of $50,000, and that not only will help you with the deductible, but will help you as well to carry on with your life. Medicare has also a lot of products as well. Usually it's between, they have like Advantage plan and supplement plans. And Medicare, the people who qualifies for Medicare are those who paid 10 years of taxes in the US, or those who are legally handicapped, or they have a critical illness. So the government gives you Medicare as well. There are different types of Medicare. We can talk about it, but it's also a very extensive topic. And if you have any questions about that, you can talk to me. For those who don't know, Medicare has an open enrollment every October 7, I believe. So you can change your Medicare plan every year as well. But the only way to be qualified for Medicare is to have worked, pay taxes in the US for at least 10 years and be 65 years young. Expert insurance, these are insurances of foreign nationals that come to the US or US nationals going elsewhere in the world. So we also specialize in those insurances because with those insurances, you are covered also for ambulance transportation anywhere in the world. And it's very important to have this ambulance transportation because if you don't have it, it can range between $20,000 to $200,000. And I've heard a lot of stories of people that didn't have that benefit and they had to collect money from friends and families in order to pay for the transportation in case of an accident from one country to another. Group insurance is mainly for employer. So if a new company from Spain or another company from another European countries or Latin American countries come to the US, they can set up a group insurance. Usually the group insurance is minimum 4, but you can have less than that. And I know we have one of the questions related to that. But group insurance is basically to have a policy for the company and all the employees are under this policy and they can have a health insurance through the company. What is the advantage of a company having a group insurance? It's a retention tool. A lot of employees are looking for benefits. And if they don't have benefits from that particular company, they will look for another company in order to get those benefits. It's very important for employees to get those benefits. As you know, the medical claims and medical costs in the US are the highest in the world. That's a fact. I'm going to go to the next slide now. This is a little bit of statistics about who carries the health insurance in the US. Most of the insurance in the US is carried by corporation. You can see 39.5% is group insurance, like we mentioned before. Non-group are usually individuals, families, maybe they are self-employed, that they purchase for themselves. Medicaid is usually for people that have less than 100% federal poverty line, and they have a very low income, and they get help usually from the state and for the federal. Brokers usually are not involved in the Medicaid space. Usually the consumers have to go directly and ask help from the state or from the federal governments. Medicare is also a very big piece of the pie, about 20%. For those, as I mentioned before, that are 65 years old or older will qualify for Medicare. Usually that's the case. And we also have the military people, that the vets, that usually also get the insurance through the Department of Defense as well. As you see, there is also a lot of people that are uninsured. A lot of people take the risk and they don't get insured. And if something happens, they have to pay all of it. It's very risky, in my opinion, especially, as I mentioned before, the cost of hospital in the US is extremely high. This is another information that I wanted to share, that it shows you in the graph in the bottom that small group has, and large group has decreased a little bit. So there is a little bit less of group employer, although it's still a big chunk of the market. It's because a lot of people decided to go to the marketplace because they have subsidies. And also, since COVID hit us, and all the world, a lot more people decided to be self-employed and be entrepreneurs as well. So they are purchasing the individual product, and hopefully when they become bigger, they set up a small group or a large group insurance for them and their employees. I wanted to explain a little bit the differences between the different type of health insurance. As you can see in the bottom, there is something that's called PPO, POS, HMO, and HSA. I know it sounds very, very confusing for you, but I'll explain to you in 2 sentences. PPO stands for Preferred Provider Organization. And usually, most of the people like to have the PPO because you don't need a referral. And also, it has a relatively large network of doctors and hospitals. The POS is like a hybrid between the HMO and the PPO. I didn't explain HMO yet, but I will explain later. The POS, usually, which is 8%, you don't need a referral either. So maybe it has a little bit smaller network, and you can see those POSs in group insurance mainly. Not so much in the individual, but more in the groups. The HMO stands for Health Maintenance Organization. By the way, I forgot to mention what POS stands for. It's Point of Service. And the Health Maintenance Organization, it's an HMO. It's a little bit cheaper, and it's about 13%. You usually need a referral to go from a primary care physician to a specialist. And the HSA is a plan that, in my opinion, is great for a family with many children. because the way it works, the health saving account, the HSA, is that you place 6,600, something like that, in the bank, and it's tax deductible. And when you go to the doctor, everything goes to the deductible. So if you have a big family, you can meet a deductible really, really quickly. So that's why I suggest HSA for larger families than single people, etc. Although we have clients that are single people that also prefers the HSA. HSA usually are PPOs. It means that they don't require any referrals to go for a primary doctor to a specialist. We go to the next slide. I know we have an audience of probably many countries here, but I wanted to show you some statistics about dementia. So this is taken from the OECD. Usually these are countries that are a little bit richer and a little bit more developed. And the United States is ranked a little bit lower in the dementia prevalence. We also have information about Spain because obviously we're in the Spanish Chamber of Commerce, so I wanted to show you that Spain is a little bit higher in the dementia statistics. Also, I have information here about cardiovascular disease. So Spain is probably lower here, maybe because, I don't know, it can be different reasons because of exercises or different circumstances, but it's lower than the United States. I see that we can see here in this graph that Slovak Republic have a lot of issues with cardiovascular disease among men and women as well. Let's talk a little bit about cholesterol and high blood pressure. So in the cholesterol statistics, USA is a little bit lower than Spain. As you can see, we're talking about percentage of the population. About 13% of the US population has some cholesterol issues and 16% in Spain. And in the high blood pressure, it's about 16% in the USA and 23% in Spain. Now, it is very important for you to understand, if you want to purchase insurance, you need to do it with an insurance professional. It can be with someone from our agency, it can be with someone else outside our agency, but it's very important because we understand what are your needs and we ask the right questions in order for you to get the right plan for you, for your family, or your company. If you do the purchase on your own, you might get a plan that is not exactly what you need. The medication is not exactly what you need, the diagnostic, etc., etc. So that's why it's very important to hire an insurance professional. When you hire an insurance professional in Florida, you pay nothing. There is no fees. So it will cost you the same to hire or to purchase in a market than having a professional. So it's a really no-brainer of hiring an insurance professional that can help you for free. How to navigate? So there are two options of navigation. Either you're a company, it's corporate, or it's individual. So let's try the top part in case it's a corporate. If it's a corporate, first you have to find out how many employees are going to be in your company. How many employees want to take the insurance? Also, what is the budget of the company? What is the network of the specific plans for the group insurance? What are the benefits? All these things the insurance professionals will explain to you. Also, usually it's good to explain also the supplement, because if there is a group health that has a high deductible because the owner wants to save money, because when the deductible is high, usually the premium is lower, So they would like to have a supplement to offset or to buffer the deductible. In case that a person wants to buy an individual plan because it's not offered by his employers, sorry. And by the way, talking about offering insurance, the employer is not obliged to offer to his employees unless they're over 51 employees. If they are over 51, he's obliged and it's compulsory to offer. Otherwise, you don't have to, but it's recommended to offer it to because it's a stronger retention and recruitment tool as well. So let's go to the bottom part of the individual. If it's an individual or family, first you have to find out if you qualify for subsidies. If they qualify for subsidies, then they can choose a specific plan. If they don't qualify for subsidies, you still can qualify for either for private insurance with the local ones, or if you are a foreign national, even you are a dual citizenship, we can help you get an expat plan, which will cost more or less 30% less and will cover you in the US and globally as well. And the last thing, the supplements are very important, as I mentioned before, to offset the deductible in case something happened like hospitalization or a treatment. What are the considerations that client ask us usually? They usually ask, is that doctor in the network? Is that PCP in the network? Is the specialist in the network? These are very important questions that people that are doing ongoing treatment, they want to make sure that their doctor is in the plan. If he's not, then we have to look for another plan that is in the network. They're also asking for copays for diagnostics. A lot of people in the market, they just purchased from a broker that just want to make a quick sale. And after they purchase the plan, they realize that the diagnostics like MRI, CAT scan, etc., you have to meet a deductible of $6,000. So these are the things that you have to go through a broker, and he will tell you, this doesn't have a copay, you have a deductible, or you have a copay, whatever the case is. Medication is also important. If you're taking medication constantly and the plan with the strongest medication plan, this is the one you have to choose. Also, it's important to find out if the hospital is in network as well. If you are in a certain location, you want to make sure that, let's say, Memorial or Baptist is around your area as well. You also have to ask if those plans covers you out of state or out of the country. These are legitimate questions as well, and you have to ask your broker or your insurance professional. And ER and urgent care as well are very important. A lot of people take a plan and they don't go to urgent care, which usually is a copay, they go to ER, and sometimes the emergency room have a deductible, and they pay the deductible. So sometimes there are plans that have a copay for emergency room, so these are the questions you have to ask your insurance professional when you are sitting with him. Ask him a lot of questions. Don't be shy when you are with your broker and he presents all the plans for you. These are some of the carriers that we represent. We don't have really, I'm not trying to promote any of those companies, but the reason I'm just showing those companies is because sometimes there are companies from overseas that are covering Europeans and people from overseas, and they cover them in the US. But the problem is that in case you have hospitalization, you have to pay the $60,000 or $100,000 for hospitalization, and then they reimburse you. That's a big problem. I mean, how are you going to get all this money in order to pay the hospital, send all the receipts of $60,000 or $100,000, and then get reimbursed by the foreign carrier that is based somewhere in Europe. All these companies that you see on the screen, they work like that. Basically, they will pay the hospital directly, except the deductible. But at least they will take all these concerns from you and give you a peace of mind. I think I covered all the information that I wanted, but I know that there are some questions, and I believe Juan Carlos has some people in the audience that have some questions, so I wait for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. Yes, so anyone that might have any question or want to understand a little bit more in deep detail, anything that Gabriel mentioned, please send those questions through the question tab that is on your control panel. We already have several questions here that I believe that will be very interesting for our attendees, and all of us will learn from the questions that we have. So first question, and this one was sent to us even before the presentation. This comes from Ignacio, and his question is there a minimum number of employees in order to get group insurance?
The answer is no. The group insurance can be done by one person only as well. But we recommend that they have 4 employees, because usually with 4 employees, the broker can help that employer. Because if it's 1 or 2, usually the employer has to go directly to the carrier to set it up. I mean, we can give them all the information on how to do it, but to answer the question, there is no minimum.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Second question, it comes from Sarah, and she asked, what type of insurance is better for someone that does not usually go to the doctor nor have illnesses?
That's a very good question from Sarah. There are several options for that. One of the options is to have an HSA, which is sometimes a little bit cheaper, but it has a deductible that can be lower, and it's a good mechanism for people who are healthy. But also there is another type of insurance that if that person has a dual nationality, it's custom made to take off the doctors as well. We have one of the carriers that do that, and usually you can cut the cost by 50%. So there are solutions for that.
So, and excuse me, Gabriel, what is exactly what you mentioned? Why people with dual nationality can do that?
Because the only product that is completely custom made is an expat plan. And for example, all the plans here in the US have doctors and hospital. It's like a combo. And there is one company that is for expat that what they do is they take off the doctor's benefits, and it slashes the premium by half. But in order to qualify for that, it's okay if you live here, but you have to showcase that you have another nationality. These are the requirements of that company.
So, but it could be someone that has a green card holder and having nationality from other countries.
Yeah, you can even have an H-1B visa and take this plan. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much. Next question comes from Pablo, and his question is, what type of insurance, I was going to read the first one again. The company pays half of the premium and the worker pays the other half. What do you recommend so that the monthly premium could be reduced in those cases?
Well, there are 2 routes for that. Either he wants to pay, it depends on the company. If they are less than 50, they have no obligation, okay, to pay the other 50 unless they really want to. But we have the way to shop around and find the cheapest plan for group insurance in the market. That's one option. The second option is to do an individual plan and have every employee go and get a subsidy from the marketplace that we can help. So these are the two routes we can help the company to reduce the premium.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Another question that we got, it's about the supplements. Is a supplement the same thing that a gap insurance?
Yes, it's just, well, the supplement is something that help you partially with deductible. So that's the supplements.
Okay, wonderful. Second question, what happens when an insured person give birth to a baby, to a newborn, during the time that they have one insurance? Does the boy get automatically get insured by the same one, or it's the baby covered by the insurance of the parents? How that usually works?
Yeah, when the baby is born, the parents have 30 days to cover the baby. Actually, you can do it for more time. You have a little bit more time than that to get the baby covered. And when you get the coverage for the baby, it covers since he was born. So the question you ask is, can you place the baby under the parents? Absolutely. But sometimes the parents say, wait, our insurance is not that great, and we don't want to put the baby in this insurance, so I like to have a separate insurance for the baby. So you can do that as well. There's only one company that can do that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Another question that we have, I am an entrepreneur who has recently relocated to the United States, or who wishes to expand my business to the United States. What is the best insurance for my employees in the country? And how do I pick the best insurance?
Well, the best way to answer this is the best insurance is the most expensive one. That's a fact, because it's like in cars. What is the best car? I mean, obviously, it's the car that is the most expensive. But we're trying to navigate with you and find the best of both worlds. And that's why we have access to all the options. So usually we ask, what is the budget of the owner? And according to that, we navigate to make sure that the benefits are exactly what he needs according to the budget. So we hold the hand of a new employer, a new entrepreneur in the US, and we go step by step and show you everything. It's much easier for the potential client to do it this way. Otherwise, it's going to be very confusing. So we do all the work for them.
Thank you so much. Another question that we have is, do you provide guidance and services for a health insurance outside Florida?
Yes, we also have clients outside Florida, even outside the US. So we have options and solutions in case somebody wants to live in the US or wants to open a company outside the US. We also do group insurance outside the US as well.
Thank you.
Another
question that we have is, how will the new COVID-19 health policies impact my decision to provide the best insurance for my employees?
The COVID-19 didn't have any impact in the US because all the policies were guaranteed issued anyway. They even gave more benefits to COVID-19. As you remember, they were basically covering all the tests and all the vaccinations. that's the first and the booster, etc. So the COVID-19 did not have any impact, really considerable impact, because the Affordable Act, which was the guaranteed issue, existed before. What did impact was the travel insurance. So for a period of time, people didn't find a travel insurance that would cover the COVID-19. But it came like 2 or 3 months after COVID-19 was declared that there were travel insurance that were covering the COVID-19. I don't know if this answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much. Another question that we receive is, can my employees combine or supplement their insurance with other types of insurance?
Supplements with their current insurance? Yeah, absolutely. So if, for example, somebody have a group insurance through the company and they want to have a supplement because it's not offering the company, yeah, they can purchase it outside the company. Usually those supplements are very cheap. Some of them are even $14 a month. So they can purchase it outside and combine it with the insurance that is offered through the company.
Oh, wonderful. That's interesting to know, because sometimes the employees would like to get that gap insurance and the company doesn't provide it. And some people thought that they needed the authorization from the company in order to get that gap insurance.
No.
Very good. Next question. How can I teach my team how to make the best use of their insurance?
That's what we do for the employers. When an employer is setting up their new health insurance for the company, we do a brand new presentation tailored made to the company, PowerPoint, and we explain all the benefits. So we train them and we explain benefit by benefit how it works. And usually every year we do a refresher to the company itself. So if there are changes, they understand. And the reason we train the employer and the employees is because sometimes the providers make mistakes in the benefits. So they are very knowledgeable of what's going on with the policy.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No,
next question that we have here. I have a job offer in the United States. What insurance-related questions should I ask during the interview?
Well, it's important for the person to ask what type of plans are offered. If they're also not only about health insurance, they have to ask if they offer life insurance, long-term care, disability. A lot of people overlook at that, but if this person gets into an accident and doesn't have disability insurance, it's a problem. So you should ask the whole spectrum of benefits that are offered with the company, and specifically in the health insurance is what are the two options that you cover. If it's an HSA or it's a PPO, it's an HMO, and according to that, he can talk to his broker and a friend that knows about insurance and make a determination. I have friends that are in corporate, and sometimes they come to me and they ask me what is the best option.
Wonderful. And about that, if someone is thinking on relocating to the United States, maybe to set up their own company as an entrepreneur, is there a way that they could get the insurance before they come to the US, or the only way to do that is once they are here?
No, you can do it from overseas. There's no problem because there's no exams done. There's no doctor's exams at all. For the local insurance, everything is guaranteed issued. So as long as they have all the information, they start the process of enrolling and issuing. So when he comes to the US, he has it. And the same works for the expats. So it's a very, very simple process.
So, and do they have, or do they need to have their visas already approved before getting the insurance, or they could be in the process of getting the visa and at the same time getting the insurance?
It depends on the case. For example, with local insurance, with local insurance in the US, like for example, Florida Blue, you need to have the Social Security. Maybe with other expat insurance, it's a little bit more flexible in that regard.
Okay, wonderful. Next question. What if my company has insurance and I want another insurance affiliation?
Another insurance
Affiliation.
you mean to have another policy?
Yes, that's what I think. Yeah.
I don't think it's a good idea. First of all, you're paying twice. And second, what will happen if you have a claim, each insurance company will say that the other have to pay the claim. So I don't recommend to be affiliated with two health insurance companies in the US. Now, if you have an affiliation with a company elsewhere, overseas, obviously, that's fine. But in the US, I don't recommend it.
Okay. Next question. I have a chronic illness, but my insurance is very basic. Can I change it to something more specific that will help me with my condition?
It depends on the case. For example, if you are a person that is close, for example, to the open enrollments, I mentioned before that there was open enrollment for Medicare, but there's also open enrollment for under 65. So usually you can do that either at the open enrollment and upgrade it, or if you move from one zip code to another, you can upgrade it as well, and you don't need to show anything, no medical exams, nothing.
So they could do it once the open enrollment starts or by changing the zip code?
Yes, there are other circumstances as well. For example, if a baby was born to that particular person or he got divorced, there are about 10 reasons that they can upgrade or change the plan to something else.
Very good. And next question. What if my insurance does not cover foreign travel and I have an emergency?
The insurance in the US does cover emergencies. The only issues is that you have to pay for it and then get reimbursed in the US. So that's why we recommend to buy travel insurance, which is very cheap, before you travel. But it does cover emergency. The only thing it doesn't cover is doctor visits. Like you have a headache and you want to check with your doctor. The travel insurance does cover that.
Okay, perfect, wonderful. Let me see. That was the only question for now. I don't know if anybody else have an additional question for Gabriel now that we are here with him. So any question or comment that you have for insurance? I know it's a complex topic. If you had the experience of having to choose between different policies and companies, you will know that the difficulties and the complex that is to choose between one another and to compare plans, even for the same insurance company, and they have very similar plans that sometimes it's hard to understand what's the difference between one another. And you see in the bottom line that maybe the cost of one it's $200 more than the other. No? So now that we have Gabriel here, if you have any additional question, let us know. And as I said before, we will share with you the video and the presentation, and also will provide Gabriel contact information that you already can see that in the screen at this time. And we will also post this video in our YouTube channel. So there you could see not only this video, but other webinars that we hosted in the past 2 years. Well, I believe that that's going to be all then. No more questions entering. So Gabriel, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your knowledge about insurance.
No, thank you, Juan Carlos, and thank you to the Spanish American Chamber of Commerce. And thank you for all the audience for spending the time to hear about medical insurance, and I hope I was able to help.
I'm sure they will. In any case, if any of the attendees have additional questions, they would like to send them directly to Gabriel. Write down his email address. He's there in the screen at this time, and we will also share his contact information in an email later this afternoon. Thank you everyone for attending again this webinar organized by the Spain US Chamber of Commerce. I hope you have a great day and see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye.